Yo, it's Tuesday. Today I'm going to make a quick video about something that I get a lot of questions about. And I think it's something that a lot of you, especially in the fitness community, probably wonder. And so I'm going to shed my own personal journey of how I became a Lululemon ambassador and what that even is, because a lot of you don't even know what that is. So for those of you that are uninitiated, Lululemon is my family. Lululemon has been a massive part of my life for the last almost 3 years. They've been a huge part of my support system with my business, and they have been maybe the greatest catalyst for my personal development and growth in the last 3 years. People say things to me now like, you're more at peace than I've ever seen. You're a happier person than I've ever seen. And I can directly attribute that to my relationship with Lululemon. So Lululemon, I'm forever grateful for you. Man, I almost started crying when I said that. Shit, I got to keep it together. Okay. Now, a lot of you will say things to me, whether through DM, you'll text me if you know me personally, you'll send me a Facebook message, you'll see me on the street and say a couple things. One, so what exactly is a Lululemon ambassador? Two, how do I become a Lululemon ambassador? So I'm going to break down what an ambassador is from my viewpoint, and I'm going to break down how I became an ambassador. So number one, I want to leave you with this one little tidbit as you listen to this. There's no blueprint to become an ambassador. Nobody's journey has been the same, and my journey is not your journey. What I can tell you is there's no one set way. I can tell you one way that you probably might not is to go in every day saying, I want to be an ambassador, I want to be an ambassador. I can tell you one way to not become an ambassador is to email another ambassador and go, hey, I spend a lot of money at Lululemon. You should tell them to make me an ambassador. I personally had never spent $1 in Lululemon before I became an ambassador. I had been product tested, a pair of ABC pants and a pair of boxers, and that was it, okay? So it had nothing to do with how much money you spend in there. Look at that painting though, Taylor Gallegos. I'm gonna tag him in this, dope. And it has nothing to do with, how fit you are or how popular you think you are or any of those things. So here's what it does have something to do with though. At Ambassador Onboarding this year, we were asked to give our elevator pitch of what an ambassador is because we get asked this question a lot. For me, it was simple. Lululemon gives their store managers the honor and the privilege of finding individuals in their community who embody the sweat life. The sweat life is sweat, grow, and connect, okay? These people are usually considered influencers or inspiring human beings in their community and their culture. They're usually uplifting the community, doing cool things with cool people. That's what a Lululemon ambassador is in a nutshell, okay? But it's so much more than that. What it isn't is, again, someone who spends a lot of money at Lululemon. What it isn't is someone who is constantly saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. You should make me an ambassador. You should make me an ambassador. You should make me an ambassador. Here's all the reasons why you should make me an ambassador. Trust me, if you are, your paths will cross. You'll meet a store manager at an event or you'll host something and they'll see you. So I'm going to share how I became an ambassador. And again, my journey is not normal. And no two journeys is alike. So 2016, I started a boxing studio. I had this many dollars, that's a zero. I had this much business experience, also a zero. I had $1 million worth of hustle, and I knew I wanted to make a difference, okay? So one day I'm sitting on the floor of my gym because nobody's coming to class because I didn't have any money for marketing or advertising. And I knew that Lululemon was down the alley for me. I'd never been into a Lululemon in my life, like ever, okay? But I knew a little bit about their company, and I knew that people that love Lululemon love Lululemon, okay? It's one of those incredible brands that have just created a culture around it that people love to be a part of, and I wanted to create that at my gym. So I got up off the floor and said, I'm going to walk down the alley to this Lululemon place because I think we have some things in common. Walked down there was a woman in there named Kelly Mitchell at the time. She was the assistant store manager. She's amazing, and she's a big part of my story. And I said, I'm Joe Buckner. I opened a boxing fitness studio down the alley, and I would love to invite you guys in for a free class. Now, Lululemon is all about sweat and community, so they were all for it, okay? I did a free class for them, and that was awesome, but that's not how this story came about. As I was in there, I looked on the counter, and there was a flyer that said Men and Balls. a woman named Lindsay Roselle was running a really cool event for men called Men in Balls. It coincided with the release of the lululemon ABC pants, the anti-ball crushing pants. If you don't have any, get several pair. I wear them every day in various forms. This is not an advertisement, so I'm gonna stop talking. But I looked at that flyer and I said, you absolutely want me to speak at that. They looked at me like I had three heads because it's kind of brash to say that, but I meant it because I've been through some things and I know what it takes to have courage or balls. Long story short, I got to speak at that event. I shared my story of going from being in prison to being homeless to being a six-figure earner to starting my own business and wanting to make a difference in my community. And it was at that day that a woman named Lauren Berry said, that one. That's one that we can keep our eye out for. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. There's a process, okay? They need to get to know you. They need to know if you are who you say you are, or are you just putting on a front. May 2017, I was blessed with an invitation to become a Lululemon ambassador. I'm not ashamed to say that I cried. Whatever. But that came about because I was willing to show up. Before I was an ambassador, Lauren would ask me, hey, I have 7 store managers coming into town. Would you host a class or would you let them get into your class? And I'd say, absolutely, go ahead and bring them by. I showed up, okay? Before there was anything in it for me, I showed up. That's one of the problems is most of us are very transactional, right? Like, well, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? I just wanted to be a part of the community and wanted to do my part. But here's what happens when you show up. And this is for current ambassadors now who think like, oh, well, I got the ambassadorship. Thanks for the gear. See you in 2 years. Show up. Before I was an ambassador, I led a workout for 7 store managers of locals in the Rocky Mountains. In that class was a woman named Ashley Scarpelli, who now is one of my dearest friends, who's a woman that I would literally travel to the moon and back for. But she was in that class. She was a store manager. I didn't know. I don't think anybody knew that eventually she was going to be on the men's team at Lululemon. Well, from that, me just teaching a class, she met me one time. We ended up making a movie together with Huckberry and Lululemon. We've gone to the Detroit Huddle. I've been asked to be at other events or lead workouts for the men's community team at Red Rocks. Like all of these great things because I started developing a relationship and expected nothing in return, because that's one of Lululemon's fundamental things is giving without expectation. And that's what I was doing. So if you want to know how to become a Lululemon ambassador, I'm going to tell you 2 things. I don't know how you can become a Lululemon ambassador, but what I can tell you is show up in your community, be a part of the community, be at events, just be the person that you actually know you are. And maybe something dope will happen for you someday. Maybe it won't. But even if you don't become a Lululemon ambassador, you'll be doing your part to make the world a better place.